Now, on 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app, O'Connor and Company.
It is 7:07 on this Friday in your nation's capital. You've made it to the middle of August. The dog days are almost behind us, and, well, I guess everyone gets to work in September in this town, but we're working. Coming up in 30 minutes, Jonathan Fahey, former acting ICE director, will give us his expert opinion on how ICE is now going to be coordinating with the D.C. police and whether that'll last past Donald Trump's 30-day window. 8:05 brings us C.J. Pearson, commenter, analyst, and social media influencer. It's Larry O'Connor alongside Patrice Onwuka. Good morning, Patrice.
Good morning. Happy Friday, everybody. We made it.
It is, in fact, a Friday, and we have, in fact, made it. And it's not going to be a summer vacation-style weekend for the president or his foreign relations team, though. They're going to be working intensely up in Alaska. I guess up and over in Alaska, more accurately. A senior research fellow, Brent Sadler at the Heritage Foundation. He's also Naval Warfare and Advanced Technology, Allison Center for National Security there at Heritage Foundation. So he knows a thing or two about our adversaries and about the war going on right now in Eastern Europe. Brent Sadler, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thank you, and good morning.
Good morning to you. I was actually stunned that President Trump, at a press conference earlier this week, said that he expects at the end of this meeting with Putin to walk away with a ceasefire and an end to the military hostilities that we've seen since the second year of the Biden administration. So he's sort of raised the bar. He's, usually you want to lowball it. You want to, lower the expectations. But as far as he's concerned, if he doesn't get an end to this thing, he's going to come down hard on Putin. What do you think is going to happen?
Yeah, some troubling rhetoric coming out of Moscow and Putin, a bait and switch kind of sense of things. He's talking about perhaps nuclear arms limitation deals, but he's not really talking about really why Trump's getting on an airplane and traveling many hours over to Alaska to meet him, and that is to end the war in Ukraine. If Putin does that, I don't think the meeting is going to go very well. Trump's made very clear the only reason he's meeting him is, serious commitments to end the fighting in Ukraine. And I don't think there should be any relief, any expectation relief on sanctions, secondary sanctions, until real tangible progress is made there.
A lot of critics are saying that this is a bad setting and a bad format because Zelensky, the president of Ukraine, is not involved in these conversations. Is that a legitimate criticism, or is it more important to actually get these two superpowers talking? Because otherwise they'd continue waiting. Putin's not going to sit with Zelensky. He doesn't want to have that meeting. He's not interested in this meeting. So is it more important to have any meeting, even if it doesn't involve one of the parties?
No, I don't think that's a good or realistic criticism. I mean, it's going to take, pressure. It's going to take engagement of all the parties to get them to basically navigate some very complicated and challenging paths ahead to a ceasefire and into this war, a sustainable into this war. So President Trump's engaged Zelensky directly. He's going to have to engage Putin directly. And then I think when the time is right, and it looks like both parties are willing, we know Zelensky now is willing and sincere. It didn't come very smoothly. You remember the White House dust up. But now it's Putin's turn. The pressure is being turned up, perhaps a little delayed, but it needs to be applied and continue to be applied until Putin sincerely enters into ceasefire. And then when the specifics are starting to be haggled about, where the new frontier will be between these two, Russia and Ukraine, of course, Zelensky's got to be there. He's one of the belligerents. If both parties don't agree, there's no peace.
Well, to that point, when we look at the demands that each side has, both Russia and Ukraine, I mean, Russia obviously wants to get to keep occupied territory. They want Ukraine to demilitarize, and then from the Ukrainian side, I'm sure they want their land back, and also kind of this campaign against children and POWs that Russia has claimed Ukrainian children. Do you think that President Trump will be able to find enough common ground between all of these different demands, particularly when it comes to land? I mean, it's either you keep the land or it goes right back. Do you think that President Trump is able to find kind of a sweet spot that both sides could agree to?
I wouldn't characterize it as a sweet spot. It's going to require compelling and pressure. The Russians, true to form, have taken a maximalist approach. They know their demands are ridiculous. They know that they don't have a lot of ground, so to speak, on this. But they make that in the hope that they'll get more for nothing through negotiations. And so better is to see what actually the reality is on the ground, what can realistically be achieved through force of arms. Not a whole lot left there on either side. This is once the fighting is out of both bloodstream, so to speak, then you can deal with the reality of where that line in the ground is going to be and start to give and take in the territories. But again, it's got to be defensible. Ukraine cannot give up, the high ground and defensible ground that the Russians are not going to be able to take. Giving it up through negotiations would be tantamount to waving fresh meat in front of a hungry tiger.
The Trump administration's The Trump administration has been engaged in a lot of negotiations over trade deals and tariffs with our European allies and other interested parties here. It hasn't been explicitly said, but one must presume that the European Union and the UK have tried to tie strings to the tariff and trade deals connecting to America's ongoing support for the military effort. Are we all on the same page right now, ostensibly, Europe, the U.S., and Ukraine, with regard to their stance against Putin?
No, I'd actually say it's the Trump administration that's actually using tariffs and economic pressures to get the Europeans to start to pay up their fair share in defense. In this case, actually, some of that relief is probably coming through the forms of procurement of U.S. weapons that then go to Ukraine. So it's forcing the Europeans to put more money into the defense of Ukraine. And it's important to note that for far too long, European countries, overly reliant on Russian oil, have, even after Putin's invasion of Ukraine, continued to spend significant amount of money, oftentimes more than they do provide in assistance to Ukraine, right into Russia's coffers to buy their oil. So I think the pressure, the tariffs need to be looked in the context of trying to get the Ukrainian or trying to get resources and money from Western European countries rather than going to Russia to go into Ukraine.
Yesterday we saw President Trump talk about, or maybe Wednesday, talk about the severe consequences that Russia would face, if Putin doesn't agree to an agreement. Can you talk through what some of those severe consequences could be? I mean, Larry just asked from the trade perspective, kind of squeezing Russia economically, but what do you foresee as other consequences?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's very wise that the president doesn't show his cards at all and keeps them very close to his chest. I think that's smart negotiate, smart diplomacy. That being said, I think what's gotten Putin's attention is the pressure on his allies and partners and customers. India, secondary sanctions and tariffs that are tied to their continuing to buy huge amounts of Russian petroleum. I mean, they grew fivefold the amount of oil and trade that they do with Russia after the February 2022 invasion of Ukraine. So that's India. China has tried to resist any kind of visibility on the type of material support, which is now an open secret that they've been providing quite a lot of industrial support and material and certainly financial as a customer, again, of Russian oil, the largest, to sustain Russia's war machine. Cutting and pressurizing Russia's customers and partners is what is going to break Putin's war machine. And that is what Trump is now doing. And it is why Putin is flying all the way from Moscow, which is even further away than D.C. to Alaska, to meet in U.S. territory.
Brent Sadler, Heritage Foundation, Naval Academy graduate, and like all great Navy officers, he was assigned to a submarine. A boomer or fast attack, Brent?
Yes. All right. Thanks.
Were you on a boomer or a fast attack?
I had to do both. The fast attack's actually where it's at, but the boomer, you have to do at least one tour in your Navy career. Yeah,
that's my daughter's on a boomer right now. She graduated in 23, so yeah. She's pining for a fast attack. She likes those weapons better. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's like the difference between driving a bus versus a Porsche.
Oh,
Thanks,
wow.
Brent.
Thank you,
Take care. Go Navy. It's 7:15.
WMAL, making sense of the news. Live from the Home Paramount Pest Control Studios. Home Paramount, the leader in pest control since 1939.
Well, we've been asking the rhetorical question for a couple of weeks now. Where's Abigail? With all these things going on, the facilitated abortions for 2 underage girls at a Fairfax County high school
yes.
without the parents being notified. She
and
says
potentially
nothing.
using tax dollars, right?
Yep. There's no response, no commentary from Abigail Spanberger. Loudoun County School Board voting to defy the Title IX violations and the Department of Education, thus forfeiting federal tax dollars for that school system, and also defying state policies with regard to gender policies. Everybody else commenting on it, everybody else talking about it. Where's Abigail? And then yesterday on this program, we had Winsome Sears, the Republican nominee and the current lieutenant governor for Virginia, make a big announcement that we were all excited about because, finally, we get to, hear what Abigail Spanberger says about some of these issues because no one in the media is asking her any real questions. Here, listen to the announcement yesterday from Winsome Sears.
So you just accepted CNN's invitation to participate in a debate. Do you have any confidence that they're going to ask these hard questions of your opponent?
Well, judging by the reception that they gave me at with Manu Raju, it was awful. You think that you are going to be talking about certain things, and the only thing they want to talk about is the gotcha question. And so you're wondering, okay, so this was an ambush. I do not expect this of CNN. But, you have to deal with the cards that you're dealt, right? Yeah. And so you go in and you bring your common sense policies and you try to get a word in edgewise about what that is, because that's what the people really want to talk about. They don't want this gotcha stuff. They want to know, how is your policy going to help my child learn? And how is your policy going to keep me safe?
So that's Winsome Sears acknowledging that CNN has already ambushed her the last time she appeared on that network with a bunch of gotcha questions, recognizing that the deck will be stacked against her for this debate, as we often see with CNN debates. But she's going ahead anyway because she respects the voters of Virginia. She respects the democratic process and recognizes that even if it's an unfair fight, the voters of Virginia deserve to see the two candidates face to face. That was Winsome Sears yesterday. Late in the day, the Abigail Spanberger campaign withdrew from this CNN debate.
Ooh.
Abigail Spanberger does not respect the voters of Virginia. Abigail Spanberger, as she talks about wanting to protect democracy, is actually thumbing her nose at the democratic process, and she doesn't want the voters to actually see her own policies and her own ability to lead side by side with Winsome Sears. She's chickening out.
You know why she's chickening out? Because let me take you back to 2021. In the infamous debate between now Governor Glenn Youngkin and former Governor Terry McAuliffe, where McAuliffe had that viral clip of saying that he didn't think parents deserve to control what their children learn in school. And that became the rallying point for all of the parents in Virginia and lifted Governor Glenn Youngkin into the governor's mansion. And I think that she is scared. I think that that Abigail Spanberger is scared that she will have a moment where she says the truth. She says what she actually believes, and it's going to be something about parents or something about crime that Winsome Sears is going to get her on, and that clip is going to sink her campaign. And they're trying to protect her the way Democrats protected Kamala Harris last year, or frankly Joe Biden for 4 years.
You just really swerve right into that Kamala thing, don't you?
I was saying Kamala when they were saying it's racist to pronounce it. That's her name, Kamala. Kamala. I will not stop.
All right now. Spanberger's campaign is claiming that they've declined CNN's offer because they want to prioritize Virginia broadcasters and ensure that the focus remains on issues impacting Virginia, which is kind of laughable because Spanberger's campaign is really running against Donald Trump. She's constantly
She's
talking
nationalized it.
Yes, exactly. And by the way, a Virginia broadcaster, I'm guessing means not a D.C. broadcaster. She's talking about what, Richmond broadcasters, Blacksburg broadcasters? We see what she's doing here. Listen, this is nothing new. Let's not forget, in 2022, when she was running for re-election for her congressional seat against Yesli Vega, there was a proposed debate, and there were going to be two moderators from local radio. There was going to be a local NPR moderator and me. I was the other moderator, and Yesli Vega agreed to this. Spanberger had agreed to this debate. I remember because the NPR radio personality that was going to co-moderate with me reached out to me. We were texting each other. We were trying to coordinate how our questions would go and what topics we would discuss. So the NPR reporter was on board with it. I was on board with it. Spanberger pulled out. She ran from Yesli Vega. She refused to debate her. And she claimed it was because I'm a crazy right-wing, conservative, not pointing out the fact that there was also going to be an NPR liberal reporter on the panel.
But even if that were the case, you were the only moderator, and you're not crazy and right-wing, but even if there was just one moderator and it was you, so what? Yeah. Take the tough questions, because you know what? You want the job.
It's an insult to the voters. You should be able to, exactly. You want to be a governor of all Virginians, then you should take questions from a Republican as well.
It doesn't matter. Exactly.
That's right. Well, she doesn't want CNN. She says she wants only Virginia media. Okay, I've got an idea. Let's do just Virginia media. The moderators will be myself. I'm the Virginia wine ambassador. And Nick Minnock of WJLA. We'll be the two moderators, Abigail Spanberger. There you go. It's going to be local. We'll ask lots of Virginia questions. Let's go. Game on. It's 7:24.
All right, coming up, we're going to turn our attention back to D.C. with discuss with Jonathan Fahey, former acting ICE director, this massive crackdown on crime in D.C. and the ICE element. Stay with us. It's O'Connor and Company at 7:30.
WMAL-FM, Woodbridge, Washington, a Cumulus media station. Making sense of the news. News Talk 105.9. News now. Now on 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app. O'Connor and Company.
It is 7:37 on a super busy Friday in your nation's capital, 15th day of August. We're trying to cover everything happening in our town, our nation, and around the world. Coming up at 8:05, C.J. Pearson will join us for his commentary on the D.C. crime situation and what he thinks might be one of the root causes of this crime issue. C.J. Pearson at 8:05. It's Larry O'Connor alongside Patrice Onwuka.
Happy Friday, Larry. We made it.
We did. This Friday has been a long time coming, actually.
Yes.
All right, let's turn to the ongoing story. We're a week into this storyline now, and the Democrats and the media continue to sort of trip over themselves in their response to President Trump utilizing his federal executive powers to sort of commandeer the operations of the D.C. Police Department for the next 30 days, as well as integrating federal law enforcement reinforcements to help D.C. police keep law and order and crack down on crime and other problems in the District of Columbia. The latest announcement last night was that the D.C. police will now drop their sanctuary policies and cooperate with ICE. Joining us right now is the former acting ICE director and a former federal prosecutor, Jonathan Fahey. Jonathan, thanks for joining us, sir.
Thank you.
So, D.C. tries to do this clever thing that other jurisdictions, Montgomery County and Fairfax County, they say, we're not a sanctuary city, we're not a sanctuary jurisdiction. But they basically are, because if you were in the country illegally and you committed a crime, and ICE put out a detainer for you so that you can go through the deportation process, D.C. police would not honor that. They would not cooperate. That is a sanctuary city, is it not?
Yeah, that's exactly right. It's so funny that these jurisdictions say they're not sanctuary cities because they don't explicitly call themselves sanctuary cities. But that's exactly what sanctuary cities are as we define it, which are cities that do not cooperate with deporting criminals that are already arrested in local jails. That's the whole thing that they're essentially doing, and they have a few other platitudinal things, but their main thing is keeping criminals in the country and in the community.
Well, and this is so important, this step that we've seen here now, because, we've seen that D.C. was one of the main cities where a lot of illegal immigrants who entered during the Biden administration landed. And I don't know about you, Jonathan, but I've certainly seen what I suspect is a lot of these folks hanging around the city, scooting around the city, driving recklessly on scooters. And so now maybe there's actually an effort to check and make sure these individuals are not here illegally, and then to remove them. What kind of pushback, though, can we expect, not from the public as much as from people working in D.C. who are part of the system? I'm thinking of the D.C. Attorney General, for example. I'm pretty sure he's not too pleased with a move like this.
Yeah, I don't think they'll get support from sort of internal D.C. police politics, but what they will have support for, which is the most important part, is the D.C. police officers will fully support this. I mean, probably overwhelmingly. So that's what's most important, because if they're able to make arrests, make stops on the street, and turn them over to ICE, no matter what anyone in the city council or the mayor's office or D.C. Attorney General's office thinks about it, it's, so what? These people are getting out of here. And a couple of things are really important. D.C. police have lost, or their manpower is down about 800 people since the BLM riots of 2020. So, that's had a big impact on their ability to fight crime when your manpower is down that much. So this is really injecting just almost the amount of people that they lost. So this is going to be great for D.C. residents. I think all of us are happy, other than the Democrats, and the Democrats are only unhappy because I think they think this might work. And what does that do? It just reveals how bad they've been managing the city, because I'm from here, and it's been poorly managed my whole life. So this could really show, hey, we can actually do something about the crime, do something about the homelessness.
Following up on Patrice's question, though, the D.C. Attorney General, Brian Schwab, has now sent a letter to the police chief, Pamela Smith. You know her. She's the one who doesn't understand what a chain of command is. Saying that Attorney General Bondi's order for police to cooperate with ICE is unlawful, and that in his legal opinion, Police Chief Smith does not have to follow it. The mayor, while in Martha's Vineyard, apparently put out a statement saying that the emergency powers of the president only pertains to federal purposes and not local purposes. But immigration is a federal issue. So what is your legal judgment here? Is this a lawful order from the Attorney General? And is the Metropolitan Police Department compelled and obligated to follow it and cooperate?
Yes, I believe it's a lawful order. I think this idea that these local jurisdictions have any say on, immigration policy or immigration law is really laughable. But I think there may be a court battle in it, but there's a supremacy clause issue, which the Trump administration should win in court. But I don't think Chief Smith is going to back down on this, and the members of the police department are not going to back down on it. So I don't really think this will change unless somehow the Attorney General does something to go to court and tries to compel her not to do it. But this idea that you can't cooperate with ICE, that's almost really getting into the world of obstruction and harboring if he's saying that, if he's trying to discourage them from cooperating with ICE, but also trying to keep illegal aliens in the country. So I think it's really not going to change anything. And
again, this is in the nation's capital, in the shadow of the White House. You would think that federal authorities should be able to enforce these laws and compel local police to do so. In your opinion, just in the last few days here, how is this integration working? Maybe you can answer the question about chain of command. I know that Pam Bondi has appointed the DEA director as the temporary police commissioner. How is this working so far? Because this is a lot of overlapping jurisdictions and a whole lot of overlapping entities. Is it so far? Is it functioning properly?
Everything I'm hearing is that it's working well, and I think all of these law enforcement agencies are enthusiastic about doing this because they've seen the DC crime problem, and they it's typical for, particularly in this DC area, for federal and state or federal and local law enforcement to work together. So it's not something new. And also the head of the DEA was most recently in Virginia. I think he was the director of public safety. So he understands local law enforcement, federal law enforcement quite well. And I think the thing that's, I think, really important, when you listen to Greg Pemberton, who's the union head of the D.C. Police Union, he's enthusiastic about it. So that tells you a lot. The guys on the ground, the rank and file are happy about this. So that
right.
says a lot.
The men and women in blue are saying, finally, thank you. More, please. Jonathan Fahey, former acting ICE director, thank you for joining us today, sir.
Thank you, Jonathan.
Thank you.
Coming up in a quick moment, we talked all week long about the homeless encampments, criminal vagrants living in tents right in the shadow of the Lincoln Memorial and the Kennedy Center, and it continued through the week until yesterday. Something happened yesterday with those tent cities. We'll tell you coming up in a moment. It's 7:44.
WMAL's Vince Colonnese, weekdays at noon on 105.9 WMAL, making sense of the news.
We've been talking about these tent cities around D.C. You know, they pop up, they stay for a while. I mean,
then they move on.
During the pandemic, they stayed forever, especially around Union Station and some of the squares there, Farragut Square, a lot of various areas. And I've always noticed everyone sees them if you're going up and down the Potomac near Georgetown or coming across the Memorial Bridge and driving up to Northwest D.C. or past Georgetown. You see these tents. I cheekily call it the grassy knoll near the Kennedy Center, which is probably in bad taste. But there is a grassy knoll right there near the Kennedy Center. It's a little hillside. It's beautiful. I mean, riverfront property overlooking the Potomac, looking at Rosslyn and Arlington, and you got the Watergate just past you. That's a great location. The problem is it's public land. It's not meant for anyone to live there and certainly not camp there. We have laws in D.C. against camping in public, and we certainly have laws in D.C. against criminal vagrancy, but you always see people living in tents right there. This is a highly trafficked tourist area. It's an eyesore. It's dangerous. Trump noted this area and other areas around the mall and around Foggy Bottom, around Kennedy Center, around the White House, where the district council and the mayor have allowed and tolerated tent cities. I think they do it for political purposes. Look at Trump's America, where people are living in tents and impoverished. This is horrible. It makes D.C. look terrible. Makes America look terrible. It doesn't have to be tolerated. It's against the law. And yesterday, it ended. The federal government, after giving due warning to the people living in these tents, called in the bulldozers. They came in with Caterpillar moving machines and forklifts, and they just ended the squalor and bulldozed over it and removed the debris.
I love it. I was watching the clip on the evening news last night, and I couldn't help but laugh. I mean, listen, I know that may be somebody's life all packed up in a shopping cart and a tent, but that said, that person has other options. They can be relocated. There are programs to help people move from homelessness into their own home eventually, or maybe people need to be committed where they can get the mental health that they need. But our streets, our grassy knolls overlooking Rock Creek Parkway, which is kind of dangerous to even be traversing, by the way. It should not be. And under Barack Obama, I saw lots of tents and lots of homelessness. He didn't attack it. Joe Biden didn't attack it. And I'm glad President Trump is now fixing this problem.
You and me both, and I hope every major city in America is paying attention to this. There's no reason why this needs to be tolerated, and you're right. It's not only is it unsafe for the tax-paying, law-abiding citizens of every city, but it's not safe for those people. They deserve better as well. If you really want to be compassionate, get them the help that they need. C.J. Pearson will be joining us at 8:05. He's got some observations on this as well. Oh, and we have an update from Mayor Muriel Bowser. We mentioned earlier that she skipped town and she's in Martha's Vineyard. Apparently it was to get her daughter. We were wondering, what does she do? Why is her daughter in Martha's Vineyard? Now we know. It's her summer camp. Her daughter's summer camp is in Martha's Vineyard. How expensive is a summer camp in Martha's Vineyard? And by the way, there's plenty of summer camps here in the D.C. metro area.
Absolutely.
You're too good for those? summer camps?
I stand by my original statement. They're hobnobbing with the black elites, including her daughter. I mean, listen, it's not coincidental that the Black Martha's Vineyard Film Festival is going on and the Black Fashion Festival is going on tomorrow and Sunday. So I don't know. It's just a little too coincidental for my taste. And she's staying for 2 days? Come on.
A 7-year-old summer camp in Martha's Vineyard. Cha-ching. It's 7:54.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling.